Very good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. In the wake of a recent downgrade by Moody's, the International Monetary Fund is predicting that Barbados' economy will grow this year by 2.1%. The information is contained in the World Economic Outlook update for April 2016. Now, if this occurs, it will be the first time in 8 years that the economy has grown by more than 1%. Barbados' real GDP growth this year is predicted to outpace its CARICOM counterparts, the Bahamas and St. Lucia. However, it is still not on par with the economies of Guyana and Belize. In 2017, the IMF expects Barbados' economy to grow by 2.3% and in 2021 by 2%. If you provide food and shelter for rodents, expect them to move in and multiply. That's the response from Environmental Health Officer in the Ministry of Health, Ryle Rock, to concerns about the seemingly growing population of rats on the island.
We must understand that rodents need food and shelter. And once they can get shelter, once they can get food, then they will breed in abundance. We in Barbados have to understand that we have to disrupt that particular cycle. Either take away the food or get rid of the building, get rid of their where they live. And so that is why we are paying some attention to vector control.
Mr. Rock says everyone must play their part to rid the island of rodents.
This is not the initiative of the Ministry of Health alone. Everybody in Barbados must come together to fight this particular scourge. There are at least one rat per person in Barbados. 280,000 persons in Barbados, there are approximately 280,000 rats in Barbados. And they compete with us for food, they compete with us for shelter, and if we let it get out of hand, then we will lose the battle.
A moderate earthquake was recorded to the east of Barbados in the North Atlantic Ocean this morning. The United States Geological Survey says the quake was recorded at a magnitude of 5.8, but the Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies lists it as a magnitude 6.4. The quake, which was located 82 kilometers, that is, from the Crane St. Philip, struck at 6:52 at a depth of 10 kilometers. Barbados is being urged to enact legislation to seize bulk cash so as to put a dent in the drugs trade. The call was made by Director of Public Prosecutions Charles Leacock during the opening of the 4th Multilateral Maritime Interdiction and Prosecution Summit. It's being hosted by the Barbados Defense Force in collaboration with the Office of Maritime Law Enforcement Interdiction Division of the United States Coast Guard.
Ever so often you find the police have been able to seize large cash deposits going between here and other islands on the basis that, and when they are apprehended, the explanation usually is that I've seen one recently, oh, I'm taking this money down to St. Vincent to buy a plot of land. Where is the contract for the sale of the land or the purchase of the land? Nothing like that exists. Bulk cash seizures are quite commonplace in many other common law jurisdictions. And to that extent, the seizure of bulk cash should become part of our law, whereby that money would be liable to forfeiture subject to whatever explanation the persons carrying it might wish to offer.
While noting that the fight against illegal drugs must continue, Mr. Leacock says it must be a multifaceted and holistic one.
To sell brand-named marijuana. That's all well and good because it would seem to be well within the law. But what would be the effects of that? Would the sale of this sort of branded marijuana, or where it arises, or branded drugs, but so far it's only cannabis that has been decriminalized in some parts, is how will this impact on other areas of the society? Will it lead to the destabilization of communities where you have certain people involved in that sort of trade becoming very wealthy at the expense of all?
Well, Barbados is moving full steam ahead to develop its renewable energy sector, and the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic is playing its part in building a cadre of skilled Barbadians. The latest batch to complete the course in photovoltaic installations were presented with their certificates during a renewable energy education presentation ceremony at the SJPP. Principal Hector Bell sees potential in the renewable energy sector.
The Polytechnic is not a stagnant institution. So we have progressed with level 2 and level 3 courses. Energy conservation will also be critical in our energy education mix of courses. We are of the view that the renewable energy industry will continue to be of great economic significance to the Barbados economy and the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic, as we are prepared to collaborate with key stakeholders in ensuring that the expansion and success of this sector by our training strategies.
A partner in the course was the Salt College of Canada. Chair of Continuing Education, Ted Newberry, says the program was a success.
If it wasn't for your dedication and your passion to your students, your institution, and all your programs, this project wouldn't be as successful as it really and truly is. I can't say enough how important it is for a project like this to have strong leadership and support, and you should be recognized for all of that work that you've done over the last 2 years.
Well, Chief Energy Conservation Officer William Hines says the government has received support from at home and abroad in its quest to push renewable energy.
That should be very, very important to you in terms of future opportunities. But then you may say, oh, that's good, but I need to know what is going to happen to me tomorrow after I graduate. So you leave college and you're hired by a firm that is installing solar system. There's a very good chance that the firm that you join, you will probably know more than the persons who already have several years experience because you've had good formal education.
19 students from the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus here in Barbados have concluded a week-long study tour of Jamaica, where they examined the implementation of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, or CSME. The tour was organized by the CARICOM Secretariat and is aimed at exposing CARICOM nationals enrolled in tertiary institutions to the 5 regimes of the CSME. These are free movement of goods, skills and capital, as well as provision of services and the right to establish a business. Funds were provided by the European Union. Now, during the trip, students met with business executives and toured government and private sector entities, including the Jamaica Customs Agency, Jamaica Teas Limited, and the Jamaica Exporters Association. Last year, students from Jamaica participated in a similar exercise in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The final trip will take place later this year when students from Suriname visit Dominica. Over the last year, groups of children from 2 of the island's children's homes have been given the experience of a lifetime thanks to the Sandy Lane Charitable Trust. Last year, the trust donated about $15,000 worth of equipment to the Brightwater charity, allowing the children to spend every Saturday at Pebbles Beach learning how to swim, snorkel, kayak and other skills. Trustee Julian Sacker told the media the trust has donated just over $30 million in the last 12 years to a variety of projects, and Brightwater is just one of them. He says a year on, they're pleased with the results.
We have one fundraiser a year, which is the Golf Day, an event at Sandy Lane. It's an amazing event because we have no costs at all. Every penny that is raised, we're able to use for charitable purposes. And that's basically because our grand patron, Derek Smith, makes sure that if there's anything that hasn't been covered by sponsorship, he personally picks up the bill for it and makes that donation. So not 1 cent of cost.
Co-director of Brightwater, Jason Cole, says they've seen tremendous improvements with the 15 children now in the program, and they're hoping to increase it to 20. The additional children would be some with special needs. He says the ultimate aim is to have an after-school program that offers a different type of activity.
the classic after-school programs being football and cricket and tennis and basketball. We'd like to expand that to water sports because we're surrounded by the ocean. We really have the potential to make champions here. In fact, with the paddleboarding especially, it being such a new sport, every year we look to send people overseas to represent Barbados at the World Games. And so far we've had no one under 40 years old representing. So this is an opportunity to really make champions for the island. So.
It's time for a break now, but when we come back, regional and international news. Stay tuned.